Israeli Navy retired Vice Admiral Eliezer Marom, and in Washington, Jason Brodsky, Policy Director of United Against Nuclear Iran. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me today. So, General Marom, Admiral Marom, how should we look at the situation in the Gulf in general, and especially the situation vis-à-vis the Houthis in Yemen?
First of all, we must understand that all that is conducted here is done under the organization of Iran. Iran has many proxies around the region. The first one is Hezbollah. Second one is those that are in Gaza and in the Judea and Samaria. The third one is the Houthis, and they have also proxies in Iraq and in eastern Syria. And therefore, we must look at it in a whole picture and understand that Iran is involved in all of those incidents. Now let's go through the incidents very, very fast. I do it very, very fast. The first one is the car carrier was abducted by the Houthis and was brought to Hodeidah port. The second one is a drone or a UAV attack on a ship from the Pacific lines. And this was probably done by Iran. And the third one is the Central Park, which is a great story, with involvement of the Houthis. In the beginning, they asked the ship, or they requested the ship, to change course and come to Hodeidah, and it refused by the advice of USS destroyer, and they continued. And after a day or so, they were boarded by unknown. Until this moment, I don't know who boarded this ship. The only ones who know are the American Navy. And I can't believe that those are pirates, because the involvement of the Houthis is very high. First of all, they requested the ship to change course and go to Hodeidah. And then after a day, 5 pirates or whatever, boarded the ship. And then after that, there were 2 ballistic missiles fired from the Houthi area towards that area of the tanker and the CTF 151 ships, and no one of those missiles hit it. So I would say, as a conclusion, we are in a maritime battle, and we must look at it so, and Israel must take all the means and the responses that are needed to make sure that our ships are safe. At the same time, it's an international problem. The Straits of Bab el-Mandeb, where much of the maritime transportation goes through, has to be free, and navigation has to be free on all the high seas. And this is an international mission, I would say. And we, Israel, has to, first of all, secure our ships, but at the same time make sure that the international community goes and supports us and make sure that freedom of navigation is conducted everywhere on the high seas.
Yes, so Jason Brodsky in Washington, does the international community, does the U.S. look at it the same way as Admiral Marom just pointed, an international problem, not an Israeli problem?
Well, it's great to be with you, and I agree with Admiral Marom. I feel that the United States does need to take action. Thus far, there has been great defense on behalf of our ally Israel, where let's remember we have advanced naval assets in the region, but at the same time we have a deterrence deficit with the Islamic Republic. And defense is not necessarily deterrence. And let's remember in 2016, the last time that ballistic missiles were fired at the USS Mason, as they were only days ago, the United States responded against the Houthis in Yemen. And thus, this kind of escalation demands a U.S. response, and we hope to see that from Washington.
Yes, but and furthermore, Jason, looking at the broader picture, not only the maritime conflict, but the Houthis from Yemen firing at Israel nearly on a daily basis, cruise missiles, etc. What, in Washington's eyes, Israel should do, what the U.S. intends to do, bearing in mind that it's the Houthis' hands, but behind it's the Iranian body.
Well, let's understand that the IRGC has an intelligence ship in the Red Sea. It's the Beshat. And that took over from the Savis that was there for a number of years. And so this is the IRGC guiding the Houthis towards these targets. And I think that the United States and its allies have a responsibility to police these are international waterways, and the United States and its allies should be giving a coordinated response to the Houthis as well as the IRGC in this area. And unless and until we do that, we won't have any cessation of the escalation that's been happening from the Houthis and the IRGC in this area.
Yes, Admiral Marom, so looking at the broader picture that Jason just pointed at, what should Israel do? Because Israel obviously has a front. We're fighting in Gaza. We're on the verge of a war in the northern front. Israel doesn't want to expand itself, endlessly, and Yemen is far away. But still, we cannot just, sit back and play defense. At one point, Israel must go on offense.
First of all, I want to thank the United States of America, Central Command, and the Fifth Fleet for supporting Israel and for defending the state of Israel, and especially the Eilat city, and many incidents that missiles and drones were fired towards Eilat. We want to thank them for that. Secondly, I think that the cooperation between the Israeli Navy and the U.S. Navy and the Central Command is very, very high. But at the same time, no one can threaten Israel and fire missiles towards Israel without a response of Israel. But we have some priorities here right now. First of all, fighting in Gaza. Later on, we'll have some missions in the north. And we wrote a note, and there is a note in the Israeli memory that says the Houthis attacked Israel, and Israel will definitely respond. I want to memorize many people that forgot the Israeli Defense Forces, Navy, and Air Force operated already in the vicinity of Bab el-Mandeb and Yemen itself. So we have the capability, and we'll find the proper time to do it. Wait and see.
Yes, Jason Brodsky, the U.S. president came at the beginning of the war here saying this famous word, don't, to the Iranians, to Hezbollah and others. One might think that it was pointed at Israel as well in some way. Is it still intact? I mean, can Israel still count on the U.S. To intervene militarily vis-a-vis Hezbollah? Not that Israel needs so, but the U.S. Threatened to do so, and mainly to Iran, in Iran, if Israel starts a northern front, an active northern front.
States, to its credit, has positioned advanced naval assets into CENTCOM's area of responsibility, and that is a deterrent in and of itself, but it's necessary but not sufficient. The Iran and its axis of resistance know that we have the capability of inflicting grievous losses on their military, but they doubt that we have the will to do so. And the very hesitant, cautious U.S. response to the repeated provocations in Iraq and Syria especially, and also increasingly from the Houthis in Yemen, I fear will increase the risk readiness of the axis of resistance to engage in more of these provocations. So unless and until the United States changes that equation, I think that there could be more escalation, and that could make a larger conflict more likely, not less likely.
Admiral Marom, we deal with the hands of the octopus, but the body of the octopus in Iran. And Iran sits safely in Tehran, paying no price at all for what's going on here. In the northern front, in Yemen, in Gaza, it's only Israel which is bleeding.
As you know, Yoav, I'm preaching for many, many years that Israel has to attack Iran. Israel has the capability. And many people would doubt me and would say that Israel cannot do it without the support of the United States. And I doubt them. And I say that Israel has the capability to attack the nuclear sites of Iran and other sites. Israel has the targets, has the intelligence, has the operational capability, and it should be done sooner or later. I would prefer that it would be done sooner. And I'm preaching for that for a long while.
Yes, but sooner, even if Israel decides to do so, Israel, is busy with Gaza and then busy with Lebanon. Being busy with Iran as well is quite complicated simultaneously.
I agree. And therefore, the timing is a different story. And I wouldn't say that we need to do it right now while we are engaged in Gaza. But I thought that we had to do it before the engagement in Gaza, but now we are busy in Gaza, and we need to find the time to do it, because Iran has to be punished for what she's doing here in the region, because, as you said, the hands of the octopus are Hezbollah and Hamas and other proxies. But the head and the heart is Iran. And if you don't cut off the head, you will have the hands fighting you forever.
Yes, so Jason, we've seen that the administration in Washington, led by Biden, trying to reach a deal with Iran since day one, even before going to office. Does the recent event in Israel, in Gaza, starting on October 7th, change anything in the mindset of the White House?
Well, I think that it just makes the political cost of any kind of diplomatic arrangement with the Islamic Republic much higher. I don't think anyone in Washington was under any illusions that the United States would be able to conclude a formal nuclear deal with Tehran before the 2024 presidential election. I'm of the belief that October 7th was of such a explosive magnitude, this event, that it has to have an impact on our Iran policy, and we do need a reset. We do need to break out of this JCPOA framework that has been guiding our Iran policy for so long. It's based on faulty and outdated assumptions as to the Islamic Republic, and we do desperately need a reset based on a deterrence strategy vis-a-vis Iran.
Jason, I want to use the fact that you're with us and give us an update of how does Washington look at what is going on in Gaza currently today?
Well, I think that right now the priority is getting the hostages out of Gaza. I think that you're seeing these repeated extensions of the arrangement that's been undertaken via Qatar with Hamas. So that's the priority right now. And I think you're going to be seeing from the Biden administration some more caution towards the Israeli operations in the South Gaza, and wanting to see its strategy for South Gaza and to differentiate it from and apply lessons learned from the strategy that it implemented in the north. And so I think that that's going to be what you will be seeing from the Biden administration in the weeks and months ahead.
Yes, staying in Gaza, Admiral Marom, the work of the Israeli Navy have been quite impressive since day one. I mean, the army has totally failed in keeping, in guarding, in saving Israel, the Israeli villages, settlements surrounding Gaza, but the Navy was very strong at sea, preventing nearly totally any attempt to penetrate Israel, and ever since committing dozens of successful operations from the sea. Share with us a little bit this success, the reasons for that, and the difference between the Army and the Navy.
Number in my understanding, the Navy that made a very good job on the 7th of October, failed to stop all the terrorists to arrive to the shores of Israel, and this is a failure, number one. Number two, I think that we must understand that the prioritization of the technology capabilities of the IDF came through during the years, and today building a very impressive command control system that is shared by the ground forces, the army, by the air force, and by the navy. And a pilot in the cockpit, or a battalion commander in the field, or a commander of a group of ships at sea would see the same picture. And therefore, the capability of the Navy to attack targets very, very close to our ground forces is amazing. We need to add to it the capability of the manpower of the Navy, ground forces, and Air Force, and the great intelligence forces that we have. And together, this is bring the superiority of the Israeli military forces to a level that Hamas could not imagine that we would have. Same with Hezbollah, by the way. And Nasrallah said it in one of his statements. He said, we were surprised by the capability of the Israelis to cover big parts of southern Lebanon and attack our anti-tank forces, and they caused us big damages. It's the same in Gaza, and I'm very proud of all the forces. Of course, the Navy, because I was in the Navy, but at the same time, the Air Force and the ground forces, and I want to hug them.
Yes, but staying in Gaza, Admiral Marom, looking at the picture there, you've served in the army for many years. You've been a part of the decision makers. Can Israel go all the way? Is it just down to Israel, or do we need others to approve, if at all?
Israel does not have choice. I'm saying it, and I'm sure about it. If Israel does not defeat the Hamas and destroy the Hamas totally, Israel is going to lose this war. Losing this war means that for the next generations, we'll have a problem living in this region. Therefore, right now, I accept the priority of the government and the cabinet, bringing as much as possible hostages from Gaza to Israel. I think it's the right move. But we have to understand and to realize that once this is ended, fire will go on, and we have to destroy Hamas totally. It will take a long while. The first stage will be conquering all the Gaza Strip, and then part of the forces will withdraw, and we will make lots of different actions into Gaza and out of Gaza until Hamas will be destroyed totally. We don't have any other choice.
Eliezer Marom in Israel, Jason Brodsky in the US. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for being with us tonight.